You sure you ready to share the news today, Dawon? It's gonna be a change.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
Okay then.
Okay.
Hey community, here's what's brewing today.
Happy birthday, Dawon.
Oh, thanks. And I have something to share. So get your cups ready for Minoritea Report.
Hey, welcome to Minoritea Report. It's Auntie Kerel.
It's Auntie Dawon.
And it's Auntie Jerrell. What it do? Happy Monday, everybody. We got a new week. We in August. How the fuck we get here? It's Leo season. And also happy birthday to Auntie Dawon.
Hey, happy birthday, bitch.
Well, it's not my birthday yet.
I know, but you know what?
We got a little bit of time.
Barely, girl. It's barely.
And you ain't gonna be.
And she wouldn't even be here. Exactly. So
right,
we don't say happy birthday now. Well, we got you.
We're gonna say it now.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah, it's the 14th. So yeah. But I'm not one of those Leos that that celebrates for like the entire month. That's not my style. So
That's because you're a Leo that lives at 24/7, 365.
That part.
That's
a word.
why.
That's a word.
Because those are only two. Those are only two ways Leos live.
Listen, as Tami Roman once said, "You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready."
Oh wow,
Baby.
wow.
So she's not a Leo.
I thought you was gonna say, and you can't say it either because you're Puerto Rican.
That's what I thought she was gonna say. And you Latina, so you can't say.
Oh yeah,
Latina.
Why did I literally just saw that a clip from that yesterday?
Because it's
Literally,
iconic.
it really is though. It is
With that
so
cigarette.
good. And her mouth just wore out. Out.
That was
Oh my
that was
God.
for y'all who don't know what we're talking about. That is a clip
Baby.
from the Real World reunion.
thing. Yeah,
And that
like
was
30-year reunion.
That was Real World reunion season 2
Two.
LA, right?
Yeah, LA. Yep.
That was a mess.
Yeah.
Baby,
I mean,
a whole ass mess.
that was some. I mean, yeah. I wanted
Good ass TV though.
And you know what's wild is that, see, I'm into that kind of stuff. I'm into that reality TV kind
You don't
of like
say.
nonsense or whatever.
Huh.
Yeah. But Kerel ain't into that stuff. So
It's not like I'm into it until like there gets to a line where I'm like, girl, okay, it's the same shit every time. But that was iconic. That was iconic.
yeah, I was hoping for justice for David, but that didn't happen.
So
That didn't happen. And then a whole bunch of people got smoked. I was just like,
baby.
And rightfully
I'm
so.
mad that I'm mad they didn't keep that going. Like I thought that was a cool premise. Obviously, it started with like COVID and stuff like that, but
I think when they start digging into the archives of what people be posted and whatnot, I think that a lot of the people ended up being kind of problematic. They couldn't bring them on TV. So
Yeah, they're like,
stayed
you only got-
problematic.
and look,
How
if
you
you
gonna
only
be
got
problematic for decades?
and if you only got 2 out of 7 cast members that you can bring on,
Yeah.
that ain't no TV show.
But I do like the idea of them doing like a remix though of the Real World. Like how that was all that season. It would be cool if they did another one, but they combined guests, people from different seasons. That would be some good TV.
Well, we see what happens with the challenge.
I mean, exactly, and that's why I say we should totally do it. They should do it. So
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, I think I've said it on here, but like I've seen them post something recently, and I also saw Shane at World Pride from a distance. I was like, that's Shane. That's crazy. Because when I turned 21, spent it on spring break, and ended up partying with the Real World crew that whole week. Because I'm pretty much the same how I am now, but even maybe a little more hyped up then. And it's funny, I just saw a clip of Veronica, Tina, and Rachel this week, and they're still like chilling together because I guess there's some kind of Road Rules reunion or something like that that's coming up. And I was like, oh my God. So I feel like I might put like some kind of content out there to show the pictures of that whole week and like kind of tell a story and maybe even reconnect and see if they come on here. Because literally, like for a good year or two, I was still like communicating with like Tina, and then that just kind of fell by the wayside over time. But it popped up and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Like Dawon says, she's lived here and there, you know, a little bit. But yeah, no, we see that challenge. That should be crazy.
Yeah.
Them people wild. And that's when I get to like, okay, there's a line. I'm like, y'all can't. How y'all 52 and still this crazy? Come on.
It's the mind games for me. It's the mind games. It's the trickery. It's the. That's a lot. That is a whole lot, and I don't have the capacity for it. It's good TV, but I couldn't.
Just that from a distance.
Yes.
Could you do it? Could you do like the challenge?
Oh, you know Jerrell could. Jerrell could.
What you mean I could?
You would do.
First of all, I would get kicked off because I would be the person that would fighting in productions like he got to go. So
1,000%.
So yes, I would sign up, but would I make it to the end? No, because I would have got kicked off for fighting somebody. So it's one of those things. I was like, why would I even start when I know it ain't gonna finish? So because I don't have that.
Jerrell would be great TV. Though.
I don't have that. I don't have that holdback. I really don't.
Exactly. That's why it'd be good TV.
And I don't need that out there. I don't need that out there. But I would from a competitor side. Like I like the challenges. Like I'd literally be watching. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Bitch, how can you rap? Use your core, girl. Like use your thigh muscles. Like I'm definitely into the competition, right? But the drama and the this and this and this and this, nah, because I'm the person. Honestly, it would probably turn into like an episode of Bad Girls Club, messing around with me, like.
Yeah,
it would be good TV.
Yeah.
Dawon and I be sitting there eating popcorn like, girl, and getting our bail money ready.
And that bail money is already ready.
Yeah, because some of them motherfuckers big too, so I'm definitely picking up a chair. So, and happy chair anniversary too. So rightfully so.
Ow! That's why I wore this shirt today.
Look,
Damn, August 5th. I wore it around the house. Course like, what is that shirt? I was like, take a good look at it. He's like, oh, yeah. I was like, that's right. Don't forget.
Yep, chair anniversary today.
Don't forget.
So,
that was truly the beginning of like FAFO season.
Yeah.
That was like the beginning.
Yeah.
Because like we've been saying it and you've been seeing a little bits of it, but that was the first time as a black community was like fuck around and find out.
Baby.
And it's been on like Donkey Kong ever since then.
yeah.
Ain't nobody
Even the new content that's come out.
Ain't nobody
like
going
this
high.
year.
Ain't nobody saying it's above me now. Nope.
No.
It was above back then.
Yeah.
That. Like, we tried to tell you it's above me, but y'all keep playing. Y'all keep playing.
Now you are below me.
Look.
Below deck.
Yep.
Baby. I can't believe that's been 2 years ago. That's a crazy thing.
That's what gets me 2 years ago. I just
Yeah.
time is going by too fast, y'all. Like I felt like
too fast.
my 20s were so slow, and now I'm just like, bitch, that's 40 knocking on the door. Like what the fuck?
The 20s, in the 20s, we still had some milestones to get through. You had 21, to be legal for whatever. You have 25, which that's just a whole milestone.
Renting a car.
Exactly.
Right.
And did. Right. And definitely did.
And getting them rental rates, the good rental rates. And then 29 is the last of the 20s. And then as soon as you hit 30s, it's a wrap. Time to get like your blanket, your slippers.
Your Flintstone vitamins.
People be picking up hobbies that they never even had time for in their 20s. Like, you knitting now?
It's like, yeah, girl. Yeah, I gotta pick that up.
You a plant daddy now? You used to smoke them plants. You growing them plant babies.
Right. 30s are dope, though. 40s so far is dope. I'm loving 40s.
Look, honestly,
40 so far.
My birthday is this month, and I'll be 49. So one more year, and I'll be in my 50s. I will say, and I've always said this, and I've said this on the podcast, like 20s is like is great because like you just want to do everything and anything. You bust out of your teens and you get onto the scene. You want to do everything but ain't got money to do nothing. Yeah. So the struggle is real, but them experiences will last a lifetime, and some of them decisions might last a lifetime too in your 20s. Mm-hmm. Then in your 30s, it's kind of like, I don't know how you guys felt, but like it felt like I was just, my 20s was like exploring myself and the world around me. My 30s was about cementing like who I am and like really getting like my career on and like making some adult decisions. You buy your house, you're like leveling up in your career, getting your credit in check. You're doing all the grown up things, right? Maybe go on your first, international trip, whatever. 40s, baby. The foundation is settled. Like who you are, who your circle needs to be. You start in the cutting process.
Yeah, it becomes like a comfortable state. Like you're finally like, okay, I'm comfortable in
with
my
all
skin.
this,
cozy. Like it's a coziness. Yeah, like it's quite, and it is one of those things where you're just like, I don't know when it happened,
but it is.
But you just kind of wake up like, I'm pretty cozy.
And I feel like, at least for me, look, I'm a Leo. So part of the Leo thing is, we're gonna love on you. We're gonna give you. We're gonna be really generous. We're not gonna ask too many questions or whatever. But don't fuck it up, because when you fuck it up, you excommunicate it. It's a wrap. No need for a conversation. We ain't even got to have a blow up or whatever. It's just a wrap. I ain't fucking with you, and I don't care if you fucking with me. Like, poof, you're out of my life. So I feel like 40s for a lot of people is like that. You just get really, really cemented in who you are, and the time for playing games has passed. Like, we got shit to do, and it doesn't involve playing games with you.
I ain't fucking with you.
You little stupid ass bitch.
Hardest ass song ever. That shit still come on. I sing it with my whole chest. No, that's so true. That's interesting though. But yeah, and it's just interesting too. I mean, community at this point. I mean, we're 6.5 years in. You've kind of seen us evolve over time a little bit as well. It's kind of interesting to have this like journal. It's like, yes, it's the podcast, but it's literally almost our journal of the last 6.5 years. Like, and I was thinking this, like, I know we say it every once in a while. I haven't gone back and like listened or looked at any old episodes in a while. And I'm tempted, and we keep saying this, that maybe we do it for like a Patreon thing one day, and we just never do. But it'd be kind of interesting to kind of go back to some of this stuff now, especially as it's kind of getting, I think, us at like 6.5 years ago to now, we've had maybe a slight evolution in ourselves and things like that. So it'd be interesting to check ourselves or be like, nope, I still feel the same fucking way.
No, I'm good where I am today.
I did peruse season 1, year
Did
1.
You?
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby.
I haven't.
We were like diabolical. The opinions, like we talked over each other so much, and we said everything with our chest. Everything. And if one of us didn't quite get exactly what we were saying, that spawned a whole World War III. I was like, why did this spiral out of control? And then what I had to realize is growth.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
The perspectives are a lot of the same. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of the first season. I watched just 3 episodes, and I had to skim through a lot of it because some episodes were long. They were like 2 hours, legit, like 2 hours. And more, 2 hours, 15 minutes, 39 seconds. Like,
I know, like we had to stop it at 2 hours because I think that was the end of Skype. Or like before you had to like start paying extra. So I forget exactly what it was, but it was like, oh no, it was the upload to the server or something. Was like 2 hours, and then it was like you had to pay more. So it was crazy. Yep. So we're like, okay, let's get it to like an hour 59, 58. Yeah, no, those days are long gone. We ain't doing that no more. Unless maybe it's a live here and there, we kind of go a little longer.
Yeah,
But,
and for those of you that are longtime listeners, we used to have, as we were getting started, we used to have our community, call in and leave their, what's brewing today. So it was just
right.
cute going back and like hearing some of the people that, just from listeners that, sent us their recordings of them doing the intro to our episodes. That was just super cool.
Speaking of that, send your Ask Yo Aunteas. We put this early in the episode because I don't know if y'all be hearing it towards the end of the episode. So send your Ask Yo Aunteas at aya@minorityareport.com or DM us or send it to the T line. We need some new Ask Yo Aunteas.
Yes, the T line is 844-832-5463.
I know that's right. And subscribe and hit the bell button, all that good stuff. Leave us a review. All that good stuff. All the stuff that we kind of forget to say repeatedly that we probably should say. Please do that. Help support your aunties so we can keep going in year 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we look back at 6.5 and like, damn, that was a long time ago. So, yes. That's it. I was going to say this at the jump, too. Oh, go ahead.
Well, go ahead and say what you're thinking. I got something I wanted to say as well.
Yeah, quickly. I was driving back from the gym today, and there's this golf course just around the corner. I had never, and it was these 4 black women walking to the green. They were like high-fiving each other, just giggling. I was like, oh, it brought joy to me to see it. But then I was like, I think that's the first time in my life I've seen 4 black women on the golf course like that. And
Really?
I was like, why haven't I seen that? Like, I know growing up, like, we had a family friend that she used to always golf. But to see that many black women, and I'm sure it happened because like she was like I think she was a Delta, so I'm sure all the Deltas probably did shit like that. Then living in Atlanta, I'm sure it was all black people on the golf courses, but I never just stopped and looked. But it just happened to pass by, and just the joy that they were exuding. I was like, "Aw!" Then I was like, "Hold on, I don't think I ever seen that before."
Yeah, I haven't seen.
That's dope.
I haven't seen that either. But my black ass needs to be golfing in order to see it, so that's why I ain't seen it before.
Yeah.
And I used to golf. Like I've seen black men out there, but never like a gaggle of just black women out there on the golf course like that. I was like, come on, Philly. Okay,
That's
I'm here
awesome.
for that.
Love sisters getting out there doing this stuff.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. So anyway, I just had to put that in the energy. So y'all, if y'all out there golfing, let us know. We said 4.
Yeah, send us some pictures so we can post it on the gram. We want to see y'all out there in y'all golf gear. Speaking of joyful, y'all may have noticed that I've been had a little pep in my step, and my birthday's coming up, and I've been spending a lot of time in Spain, and the reason for that, and I know the community's be wondering, like, where the hell is Dawon at, and why did he keep being gone and stuff like that? Well, I got a new boyfriend.
Oh,
Yeah.
she got a man.
His name is Raphael. He's a beautiful, like, caring, kind, silly, incredible Frenchman living in Spain. And it was completely unexpected, not within my wildest ideas or thoughts or plans. Totally serendipitous. We met back in May, and like literally it was like sparks from like day one. And it's wild because at that point, like I wasn't even thinking about relationships. I was literally just like, I want to like focus on myself. This is my year of yes. I'm really kind of like breaking free of like all of the things that, didn't really serve me. And I want to evolve from the things that did serve me. And going into this year, I had just a lot of stuff that was going on and didn't really, have time or the space really for something new. But this just kind of came out of the blue, and it's been hot and heavy ever since. And I've been back now 4 times. And I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for another 10 days, in August this month. And it's going really, really well.
Y'all, community, let me tell y'all. So we are new, okay?
Right.
Y'all done probably picked up on a couple of episodes when you seen Kerel and I looking at each other like, are you like, girl? I mean, okay then. So,
and I've been dropping hints. I've been dropping hints through a couple of
even
episodes.
last week you said his name. Jerrell and I were like,
oh, that's the first. Okay. You said, who gonna pick it up this week?
Or actually 2 weeks, because like 2 weeks ago, you said like the group of like friends, so it was just maybe implied that it was just a group of friends, and I was like, okay, he's starting to say the name.
Yeah.
Then last week you said hot yoga because of Raphael. And I was like, okay, then. Michelangelo and Donatello.
Well, and by the way, one of the aunties has met him already.
I have met him. He was he was so sweet. Let me tell y'all about these two bitches, okay? Because the way they were an old married couple, like this, I'm telling you, because y'all seem like y'all have been
49
because y'all act like y'all been together for 15, 30 motherfucking years, okay? Because Dawon went to put his bag on the floor. He had like this cute little kind of like folding bag his little traveling bag with him. Raphael said, "Don't you put that on the floor and put it right here on his lap." And then Dawon was like, "Oh, I'll take it." He was like, "No, I got this." And I was like, "Okay, I see y'all two over there." I was like, And it's a cute little. It was just honestly so cute to see you so happy and just smiling. Yeah. And even my grandma was like, "Oh my God, him and his boyfriend is so cute. How long they been together?" I was like, "Oh, they just met." She was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." So
I know I was all mad. I was like, in community, if you've been paying attention to his social, it's been out there. He just, Dawon be very strategic with his placements of things. Yes. But if you pay attention, kind of like Beyonce, you got to decode shit a little bit. you would have been known too. But yeah, it's just been funny because the community's just like, okay, where Dawon at? And maybe not to spill too much. A lot of times people are like, when are you guys having like a husband's episode? And that's been another thing. Yeah. And we've kind of known that he's kind of been in an evolution, and so that's why we're like, I don't know, we'll figure it out one day. We're busy. So just to make sure to give him room and space to kind of just figure out his relationships and his friendships and all that stuff in his evolutions. So we've been quiet, but woo, damn, it's like taking your bra off or some shit.
Low key, it's like it's super hard, like. Y'all know, and when I say y'all, I mean the community, and obviously, Jerrell and Kerel aunties. I know I will share almost anything about my life and what's going on and all that kind of stuff. But there are certain things that I try to keep kind of sacred, and relationships are part of that. I don't mind sharing about generalities and things like that, but like the intimate details and all that stuff, I generally don't do on the podcast because listen, I'm the one that signed up for this, not my partner, not the other person. And so I try to be mindful and respectful of that. And, but I also recognize that, with me being away for, sometimes weeks at a time and not just, like vacationing or, working or whatever, like it stirs up a lot of questions, and a lot of community members have been asking, like, well, what the heck is going on? Is Dawon still part of the podcast? Or, yes, I'm still part of the podcast, yes. But this is what like support from your friends really looks like. Y'all have given me the space, on the podcast to step away and, really kind of dive into this other aspect, which given the fact that there's a long distance kind of thing going on, a very, very long distance in two whole different countries, it takes time to cultivate and create a really good foundation, which, I've been really fortunate that we've been doing, and I only see it growing and growing. And I'm just so proud, of what we've been able to, build together in such a very short period of time. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving me that space and continue to support.
Well, we always rooting for you. So, you and ain't never a problem, issue, or question over here on this side. So, speaking of Spain, though, so now that you're going to be going back and forth to Spain, I got 2 weeks off when it comes to the end of the year. So, I wouldn't mind like a New Year's in Spain. I'm just saying.
Okay. I'll probably be there.
Right.
I'll probably be there.
It's funny. It was funny the other day I was thinking, though, the one thing that did make me sad, I was like, aw, he's probably not going to come to Philly for Thanksgiving. I was like, he's probably going to go over there for Thanksgiving.
We will see. Like, we will see. Like,
he's more than welcome to come here and stay here, by the way.
So. Ideally, I would like to be spend some of the holidays together in the States.
Oh, for sure.
But ain't nobody outside of the U.S. trying to come here.
Like,
Like,
And why
I'm
would
gonna be
they?
for real,
Why
for
should
real.
they?
Like,
That's
mean,
a whole
like,
ass word.
there are people that are, getting turned away literally at the border and all this kind of nonsense and whatnot. And, visas are hard to come by and all that kind of stuff. So that may be a challenge.
Yeah,
but,
people.
low key, we'll see. Like, this is my year of like, yes. So
I know what we'll see means. I speak black too.
Listen, it's one thing that y'all know about me is that if I commit to do something, I'm gonna commit to do something. But I'm not gonna
1000%.
I'm not gonna if I ain't into it, I ain't into it. But I love
That
y'all.
part.
I love you and Corey, and would love to come out and spend some time with y'all and all that kind of stuff. So, but that would be ideal to have him come here, and so he can be friends and get fully integrated. He's already had a conversation, a video conversation with my mom. He'll be having a conversation with my dad next week, and he's met several of my friends. I've met some of his family and some of his friends and all that kind of stuff. So it's extended beyond just like us in our little bubble, and it's like now it's about like integration.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And maybe too, like, and we'll see like with how much you want to share and comfortable, but like I think it'd be even cool and informative just how to potentially consciously uncouple as well. I guess who said the unconsciously?
That was
Gwyneth
Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Candle Girl.
Just because like it's just like, again, like I always say at this point I'm just an old married broad, but it's just like it was very, what's the word I want to use? Insightful, at least for me, just to see how you navigated getting out of one relationship to the next and maintaining respect and things like that as well. That I think maybe for some folks listening could be a perspective to provide for them. Yeah. Because it happens all day, every day to everyone.
Also, low key, like, like that transition into like recentering yourself. And then just even putting yourself back out there, because that whole process was definitely like a journey, and didn't last long.
Girl, I know, like, be a hoe all summer, hoe. Damn. Damn.
She did what she said. She wanted to fuck some butts, and she did.
She sure did. And community, but I'll give you one last hint to go back to some episodes, maybe to rile up the the downloads. Just watch that episode where he's like, get some butt, but then also just notice when Dawon grew the mustache. That's the real tea. Go look back to see when Dawon put the mustache on the face.
There was a lot of moments in that episode too where Kerel and I were looking at each other like,
y'all. Let me tell you, community. The aunties held it together for like as long as I think that they could. But last week they were towing the line. We're really towing the line. I said to myself, okay, you know what?
It's time.
This cat is scratching to get out of the bag. And low key, like, I've been wanting to, to share this, with the community and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there have been breadcrumbs for
literally. Go back and listen to these episodes. You're gonna be like, damn, they was all Beyonce coding this shit. Especially I like the opening. The week we had the opening where Jerrell had just got back. He's like, I didn't want to come back. I was like, I'm sure both of y'all. So we've been tiptoeing,
very different reasons.
Oh man!
But no, I just want to say hi, Raphael, and I'm proud of you, and I'm excited that I get to share this with the community.
Oh, I love it. Oh damn! Okay, here I am blushing. Damn. Shit. Yeah,
okay, I got a question for you.
I was about to say, do we do an Ask Yo Aunteas, or are you going to ask me
actually? So. I want to ask this question first, and now I knew we could do the Ask Yo Aunteas. But like,
okay,
Dawon, what's it like feeling those first time like jitters again, and like just going through like that honeymoon phase, like, because you have been together. Your last relationship was together for a while, and we know that like sometimes when you last long, like as years go on in a relationship, sometimes romance dies or becomes more of a roller coaster. It's hot and cold and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But like that initial getting to meet somebody and to click with someone and then you just start vibing, like it's been a long time. So girl, like how'd it feel? How does it feel?
This reminds me of when Persephone in The Matrix was asking Neo to give her a kiss because it's been a long time since she felt true love.
Yes, that's funny. That is.
Yeah, I will say that there's two sides of it for me. Number one, this was completely unexpected in the beginning, right? So, and what I mean by that is like, we met purely from like a, I don't want to say like a total hookup situation, but it was kind of like a hookup.
It was a hookup.
It was a hookup. I mean, you were banging some butt. I mean,
baby, period.
But what was interesting about that was, for me, was there were let me take a step back. I'm such a person that's focused on connection and not transaction with a lot of things, with my friends, I'm not into, things that don't mean nothing, like I can mean nothing by myself. That's why I got this hand, I got eyeballs, and I pay that internet bill.
Just being my hand tonight.
So, like I'm not really into like, things that just don't mean anything. But with that being said, it was kind of like, when we first met, there was like just instant, like magnetic attraction, like just instant. And I hadn't experienced that in a very, 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 very long time. But also like to see how things have unfolded. And one of the many things that I really adore about Raphael and how I've been treated in the relationship is that reciprocity is really important to him, and it's really important to me. And that means not tit for tat, I do this, you do that, but it's like I'm gonna do for you because that's just how I'm wired and how I show affection and regardless of how it lands, but this is how I show my affection towards you. And I do a lot of the same. And it was just beautiful to see and feel that not only at the very beginning, but to see the consistency, and how the person is showing up. And that to me was just like more motivation to continue it. Because if you think about it on paper, there's a lot of good things, but like there's a lot of things that says this is not going to work. So the first part of it, to be honest with you, was just disbelief. Not gonna lie. I'm just like, it's like, is this really happening? Like, am I making this up? Am I romanticizing what's really going on? That's a real thing. I mean, a lot of people have been on, have vacation romances. You go out way to some exotic location, you meet somebody and it's, all hot and heavy, and you think, oh, I can't wait to build a life with this person. You get back on that airplane, it's like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Right.
But that situation never really happened. I was scared after the first visit. It was like, oh, did I really imagine that? Were the butterflies that I was feeling kind of like real? Because it wasn't the intention going into it. That's the thing. Like, I'm a person of real intention with what I do. I don't just do things just by happenstance. So the fact that it was just kind of like, it just kind of happened, like that adage that says, you'll find love, or you'll find
when you least expect it.
When you least expect it.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this at all. I was on a girl,
especially trip. The way it went down too, because it's just so not you. It's you, but it's not you.
No, not me. I mean, you saw me in Brazil.
I know. We were like, Dawon, go bang some butt, boo.
Like, no.
Like all these Brazilian men's is woo.
I done went home early from just.
So did.
Yeah. So I'll say all that to say that the butterflies are real, and it's what I'm really excited about is this is mature. And don't get me wrong, like I am so grateful and fortunate with my past relationships, you know, and the beauty of having those experiences. And, you know, this is not a comparison at all, because you can't really compare. I mean, you can compare, but like, I don't compare, because, you know, every relationship, every friendship, every connection that you have is unique. And that's something I remind myself about. So it's not about comparing. It just hits different. This hits different, and it feels amazing. And for the last, you know, for the time that we've been together, I've been literally like, outside of the, you know, the edibles that take me to cloud 25, I've been on cloud 9.
Yeah, I love that. Well, that actually kind of takes me to my Ask Yo Auntie question, and I was kind of watching a video.
Hold on, we got to set it up.
I mean,
what time is it?
Ask your
Auntie.
You know, we had to drop the theme music right quick.
So it wasn't something that was written in. It was from a video that I was watching, and you know, they were having a conversation about, you know, meaningful relationships, and you know, someone, like, it was 3 guys kind of sitting around at the table, 3 queer men, and you know, 2 of them was saying, oh, like, this person is a serial dater. He's always hopping out of relationships and stuff like that. And they, you know, kind of said that he would probably be the least likely one to maybe, like, get married because of, you know, how he goes from relationship to relationships. And then he responded by saying, you know, just because I hop from relationship to relationship doesn't mean that my relationship isn't as meaningful as someone in a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. And it kind of got me thinking, because it's, you know, often in, I guess, society, we say, you know, the longer the relationship, the better the relationship. But I mean, do y'all kind of think that's kind of true though? Like, I mean, like, you can have like I guess a shorter relationship and it be just as meaningful as a long-term relationship. I don't know. What are y'all thoughts on that?
I think it can be. Like, I mean, it just kind of goes back to, like, the intention and things like that. Like, I mean, obviously, if it's a toxic relationship and you're just in and out of toxic relationships, that's one thing. Then that shows you either running for something or having dealt with something, things like that. But I think that there's a season for everything, and maybe that was just a season for it. And I don't know if, like, a short-term relationship means, like, a month, going in and out of month relationships, or if it's, like, 3, 4, 5 years. Get out of it, and the next thing you know, you're in another 6-year relationship, whatever it may be. But I think it's possible, quite frankly. Yeah, like, especially if you're just like, okay, this is what I needed for this season, and if you're truthful with yourself and the significant other, just like, okay, this isn't moving in the direction that I want my life to move towards, or to help me evolve to this next stage, or whatever it may be. If you're very clear on that, don't hold somebody hostage that you don't think is going to be fulfilling those needs, and then because ultimately you're not going to fulfill those needs as well. So because I think sometimes maybe some folks stay in relationships for the sake of just staying in a relationship too, and this season done pass, and you're like, well, damn, I'm still here, kind of thing. So
yeah. And Dawon, before you go, I want to add one more bit to the reason why it made me think about this, is because I know that I've been guilty in the past of, you know, I'm not saying judging relationships, but I have been guilty of the past of watching certain people go through relationships and just kind of be like, okay, some friends don't got good dating habits. Like, that is so true. They pick all the wrong people. Like, them some red ass flags. Like, they, you know, in your face, and you just, But I've also been guilty of just being like, sometimes I'll see someone, like, they'll get in a relationship and they in a relationship for 5 months and then boom, like, it didn't work out. And I don't want to say judge, but it was just like, but how did you not know that wasn't going to work out? And so I've been guilty of doing that. So hearing this conversation really just wanted me to be, I guess, I don't know, just come on the podcast and take some accountability of being like, you know what? Judging people and judging people relationships, one, is not right. But two, like, how time works is different for each other, you know, and how lessons, you know, how long that lesson is different for each other, you know, for each of us as well, too. So, Dawon, I mean, as someone who, you know, is in a season of transitioning.
Been there, done that.
I mean,
she's been around the block a few times.
So, it's funny that before we started, you're like, I want to share in the podcast about what's going on. Cause I was like, damn, like this is kind of teeing up my whole question for today. So like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think a couple things can be true. I think number one, the length of time does not necessarily define the quality of the relationship or the experience that a person can have, with that person. There are people, just piggybacking on what Kerel said, there are people that have been in short-term relationships, that were really significant in terms of their toxicity, in terms of, and in terms of the passion, and in terms of the demise of those relationships. Mm-hmm. And I would say the same thing for people that have been in long-term relationships. And how one defines short-term versus long-term. Like for me, short-term to me is anything less than a year. But for somebody who's in their 20s, it might be anything that's less than a month. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so there are some different terms there. But I think underlying the question of what you're asking when you have a friend, I mean, we all have probably friends in our circle that, for some reason or another find themselves in multiple relationships in the course of the year, right? Or in the course of a period of time, and they just find themselves in one right after another. I think the bigger question is really around what are you learning about yourself going through those relationships? Because what I find in my own personal experiences, like if a relationship comes to an end, it doesn't have to necessarily come to an end on like terrible terms. You can have, Kerel had said this earlier, conscious uncoupling, which is basically having a realistic conversation around what's working, what's not working in the relationship, and is this for you, and should we be together, And it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to tear up pictures, you got to be mean to the other person. There are some people that says when they're an ex, I don't want to see them, I don't want to know them, and that's valid, but it doesn't have to be that way. So there's that piece, and I think underneath that is what is the person learning about themselves as they're going from one relationship to the next, and are they using this as an opportunity to evolve and grow? Because it's so easy for them to point the finger at the other person and say, well, they did this to me, they didn't do this, they but you picked them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be, catty. Like if the person is in an abusive situation, I'm not saying that they necessarily wanted that to happen. I'm not saying that. So I don't want y'all to come at me with that because, that's not what I mean. But what I'm saying is that there is something, Iyanla uses this term a lot, trauma bonding. People are attracted to what they know. And oftentimes when you find yourself in situations where you are going after the same kind of person, or that person has same or individuals that have similar qualities, right? There is something within you that sees that as comfort or familiar.
Is that why you got a mustache now?
Could be not. Who's to say?
I'm so through.
Everybody's running over to Raphael's Instagram.
I'm so through with you, Jerrell. That is fucking hilarious.
So I just say all that to say, like, at the end of the day, like, it's less about the length of the time, and it's more about, well, what is the experience that you're having, and are there any commonalities within those experiences that can help you as an individual grow as an individual, and hopefully identify the red flags that you need to stay away from in choosing a potential mate, and the green flags that you want to gravitate towards in a potential mate that can change the trajectory potentially of who you call your boo, right? It's one thing to
you
date.
Find out if you the red flag.
Well, but that's I mean, speak on it, because
it's true.
That's the introspection part. It's like listen. Whenever I've been in a long or short term, mostly long term relationships, and I've been really fortunate to be connected with people that just are incredible. Like, I'm so lucky and so fortunate, and these men have been like highlights and lighthouses, in my life. But as the relationship ends and as I'm trying to think about what's next for me, I go through like typically a period of introspection. Like, I need to recenter myself on, what did I learn about that? What did I do that, could have been better? What could I have done? How could I have shown up differently? What is it that I really want? What are the commonalities between, this particular relationship and that particular relationship and what's happening? There might not be as many, but there are certainly some things that I can identify within myself of areas where I might want to put some focus on. And I try to take that into the next situation. And for me, it's usually not diving right into another relationship. It's, I want to like date myself for a while. I want to get reacquainted with my friends and have fun and da-da-da-da-da. Then, again, for me, then it's like, okay, now I want to bang some butts. I'm done dating me. Now I want to bang some butts. And then it's like, okay, now I think I'm ready for, something a little bit more serious. Somebody who just goes right from one relationship to the next and doesn't take that moment to pause and reflect. I think that's an area for people to look a little deeper into.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why I wanted to ask the question, because I totally understand what you're saying, Dawon, as far as how people decide to move in and out of relationships. But what I wanted to more just raise, I don't know, just awareness or just have a conversation about, though, is just normalizing minding your own business. It don't matter how people are going from one relationship to another relationship.
No, that's a whole
and word. Part of me was just like because again, I watched the video and I saw these two friends say what they said, and then I was like, well, I mean, if they're saying it, clearly that means something. But then seeing that person's rebuttal, and I was like, okay, well, cool. And then all of a sudden I was like, why does it matter at the end of the day?
It really
but also just making space for, even if you're going to insert yourself in what's happening in someone else's relationship or in between relationships, right? Giving space for people to move however the hell they want to move, and not trying to, puzzle piece or not trying to put someone in a box as far as the type of person that they are based on, how they're moving between. Now, again, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck, and that person needs to figure their shit out, right?
It could be a platypus.
I mean,
Not a platypus.
I can't even. You're right. It could be a platypus. So maybe they're just doing something a little different. But I know for a fact that I have, and a couple different times in my lifetime so far, just looked at a couple of people and I was just like, this person tends to be in a couple relationships a year, or they're always bringing some dude around and stuff like that. And I now don't care as much. I don't really, I've always kind of looked at my friend a little bit differently. And now I'm like, okay, I really don't need to care. And I shouldn't care at the end of the day. So
Let me ask you this.
That's an area that I've just never really cared too much. I feel like I'm just trying to better myself and just taking so much work to do that I'm like, I ain't even got the mental capacity now.
I tell you why I've often cared. It's just because I don't like to have, I don't need no more new friends. I don't need to, and I don't want to keep introducing myself to new people just for this person not to be around 5 months later. I'm not doing it. Oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. Da-da-da-da-da. And I still ain't remember homeboy from 3 names ago. Okay? Yeah. So, part of me is also I don't want to be that friend and friendships where they're like, oh, come meet my new boo. And I'm like,
Every
again,
time you got a new boo.
Right, we doing this again. Yeah. And that's where I find myself caring and judging, right? Mm-hmm. But then that's when I realize I have to have that conversation with my friend, but hey, I don't want to be, this ain't an interview. We're not doing loop interviews. This ain't my work. This ain't my job. Okay. And I'm gonna need you to tap in some of your other friends that want to do this interview process with you, because it's a no for me, dog, already.
I just have a PSA. I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying, Jerrell. Folks, if you are dating a lot of people, don't bring these randos around your friends, your real Judies.
Yeah.
It is exhausting to be around somebody who constantly brings a rando that they maybe went out on 1, 2, or 3 dates with over the course of a week to 3 weeks or whatever, and they're bringing this random person to the friend group. Like,
girl, just go home and fuck. Just go home and fuck. That's what you do. Go home and fuck. What y'all doing over here? Besides wasting my time and my energy, the vibe is off. Go home and fuck. Stay your ass at home.
That part. And I don't think they really understand, because like now, instead of us vibing together as Judies and having our little like inside jokes and whatnot, now we got to feign interest in this random person that you done brought into the group, regardless of how they look and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, they may be cute on your arm, but damn, they're not going to be here next week, so why are we wasting time?
And we can't cut up because we going to keep the secrets. Because of Gucci, we ain't going to say what we want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a word.
Right.
Luckily, that's funny. Like, luckily, you're saying this, I'm like, do I have... Like, I'm going through my Rolodex, like, okay, I don't know. There's one person I kind of think.
I know who you're talking about.
That's the only one.
It was my fault.
Yup. 1,000%. But outside of that, like, but even then.
Hold on 1 second. I just got to say this, because I got to own my piece of this.
Yes.
Kerel and I have a mutual friend. He was, at that time, probably more of a friend to me than he was of Kerel's. And Kerel's getting married. And I had asked if so-and-so was going to the wedding. And
we were going to say this for an Ask Yo Aunteas one day. We never did. We're going to spill it today, though. We're going to spill it today.
I'm not saying any names. But this person went and, like, had a whole like online relationship with the person that did not speak English and brought this person to the wedding and the events.
Like to the after event. Like luckily it wasn't to the wedding, but it was
the dinner.
Yes.
So we had a table full of best Judies just having a good old time, and there was a person
Espanol
that does not speak a lick of English, just sitting there in the middle of the table.
Yeah, that was. And here's the crazy thing. I'm not normally one to call shit out like that. You know, usually I roll with the punches. But I was like, everyone's just kicking and everything, and Cornar's sitting there, and so they get up to go to the bathroom or some shit. I'm like, I'm looking at everybody, and it's like all our close friends.
Yes,
I'm like, y'all, this shit ain't awkward. Like y'all ain't saying shit. I'm looking at Dawon. I'm looking at Issa. I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, this shit is awkward as fuck. And y'all ain't saying shit.
And nobody was saying anything. I think nobody was saying anything because they didn't want to make it even more awkward than what it actually was, because it's your wedding. Didn't want to make it a thing, but bitch, that shit was awkward.
And then let's fast forward years. Last year, maybe. I think it was last year. Finally, tell Dawon, the person that brought this person to the event or whatever wasn't even supposed to be at the wedding. Dawon invited him.
I had no idea.
Dawon invited him. I was friends with him, but like he just didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Right.
And let's blame it on market days, because hey, weekend after market days, it was market days, and we were drunk at Buddy Loves or whatever. Bobby Loves.
Yes.
And that's when, and we were there, and that's when Dawon invited him, and I'm looking at him like,
bitch, you did not just
oh god,
somebody.
this is fucking awkward. I was like, oh yeah, we're getting married, so yeah, come on down. And he's like, oh yeah, because I didn't even say anything. I was like, yeah, it's at this. Like he told him where it was at, everything. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm friendly with the guy. Like it is what it is. Whatever, right. The more the merrier. Yeah. Even though pay an extra plate or whatever, it is what it is. And Dawon had no clue, and I forget.
Do I owe you $300 for this?
Minor.
For the plate, goddamn.
And then for all that and so that's why I was even extra annoyed at that dinner with Espanol, and he was like 19. Like it was so wild.
A whole mess. We'll dive into that situation. Wild. Yeah, but
yeah, we're going to dissect. This is going to be a cliffhanger. We're going to dissect that whole situation.
So again, PSA to anybody that is out there and you out there dating and you whatever whatever. Live your best life. Do that, but don't bring these randos around your best Judies. Yeah. They don't want to see.
I was thinking of another person. I wasn't even thinking about him, low key, but that's a good one. But I think Jerrell and I know who the other one. Yeah. So I guess I got two.
Yeah.
Wait, is this a person that I know?
Yep.
Wait, is it somebody that I mess with?
I'll stop. We ain't gonna say nothing else.
Okay.
Anyway,
I think I might know who this is.
But honestly, at the end of the day, like I genuinely don't think too much of it, just because I know relationships are hard. Yeah. So for me to judge, and then yes, maybe it's a red flag if it's in and out, and there's just stuff that person hasn't dealt with. But hopefully, eventually they deal with it. I'm just trying to deal with my own shit today.
Yeah. I think, Jerrell, it is a great call out, though, just to be like, just word to the wise, stay out of other people's business. Like unless they ask you, you can have all opinions that you want in your head, and don't be volunteering. Just if they ask you, like, hey, I was thinking about, my dating history and and I'm just trying to figure out, how I can move differently because I just can't seem to find the right person for me and what do you think? Floodgates are open. This is what I think. Yeah. But if they don't ask you,
stay your ass home.
You can judge them with your eyes, but don't let them see.
baby, because it's just because then they end up getting mad at you, and then it turns into something bigger, and then now you're not friends no more, and then they realize they done fucked up, and then they gotta try to come back and be your friend again, and you still salty, and it's just too much. It's just too much. It's too much. Especially in my 40s. I ain't trying to do that in my 40s. Leave that shit in my 20s. But that was a good question, though. I like that. And I guess we said it earlier, but continue to send your Ask Yo Aunteas, AYA at MinorityReport.com, or DM us, or send it to the T line, which is what, Dawon?
844-832-5463.
Hey. And you know what? I know we had a couple other things on the list, but I think this is the relationship episode. Yeah. We're going to probably keep it right there. We'll save this for next week. But thank you for sharing that. I know you kind of been talking about okay, I want to. We'll just find the time. So thanks for being vulnerable. That was cool. The auntie got a man at home. I got a man.
Show do. I'm back in the club, bitches.
Baby. We all this old Mary Bronze again.
Yep.
So maybe in the future we'll see. We'll let it breathe a while, and if he wants to, but maybe a husband's episode comes back. We don't know, but it's again feels like the bra has been taken off.
Yeah,
we could breathe and cackle we really truly want to now.
It feels really good to be able to share that, and again, just I feel really, really, really blessed right now, and very, very happy, and I'm just super excited to, be able to start the integration process. Introducing, him and seeing where it goes.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, damn. Yeah. There we go. Well, anything else in your hearts and minds?
No.
That's enough for me.
Nah, baby. That's a lot, right? I know that's right. Well, community. Dawon will be gone in the next 2 weeks, I think?
2 weeks. Yeah.
And so we'll have a couple guest aunties for the next couple of weeks. Yes. But until he comes back, wash your hands, your legs, and your ass, and we will see you then. Mwah!
Bye, everybody.